Day 2 of the NCAA tournament's officially in the books. The SEC, 4 more teams from the conference are advancing to the round of 32. 3 more are headed home. Guys, hello everyone. I'm Chris Phillips. He is lead basketball analyst here at SEC Unfiltered. Dave Shumate. Appreciate each and every single one of you tuning in. It was another electric day on the hardwood when it comes to March Madness. Once again, 4 more teams advancing to the round of 32. The Alabama Crimson Tide, the Kentucky Wildcats, the Florida Gators, and the Ole Miss Rebels all find themselves as winners. We're going to talk about those. Also, the 3 losers and just what took place on another crazy day in college basketball on this Friday. Guys, once again, thank you all so much for tuning in. Make sure, as always, you like, subscribe, turn on notifications. Check us out via podcast. Forget your podcast. You can also find us across all social media platforms, as well as our website, secunfiltered.com. And as always, brought to you by our friends over at FanDuel. Visit FanDuel.com/SECU to join today and get started with $200 in bonus bets when you win your first $5 bet. Once again, that's FanDuel.com/SECU to get $200 in bonus bets today. The SEC goes 4-3 on the second day of the NCAA tournament. 4 more teams advancing to the round of 32, making it 8 total SEC teams an opportunity to punch their ticket to the Sweet 16. I am Chris Phillips. Helping me break it all down and discuss what took place all day Friday, my good friend and lead basketball analyst here at SEC Unfiltered, Dave Shumate. Dave, what's going on, my friend? Appreciate you taking the time. Excited to talk all this with you. And I'm really just excited, Dave, to have you here because I need somebody to comfort me after what Vegas has been doing to me over the first 2 days of the tournament. I'm hurting, my man, but I'm glad to be here talking basketball with you.
Yeah, I mean, phenomenal day. I mean, SEC's, I know some people are in there kind of being like, hey, the SEC's a little overrated, but let's be honest, if you outside of Missouri, all of the other teams that lost in the SEC were either the lower seed or were not favored in the game. So those are the good teams that had advanced outside of Missouri. And Missouri was struggling down the stretch. But no, we got 8 teams advancing into the round of 32 starting tomorrow. So still a good precedent for the SEC to set. I'm really going to judge the SEC by how many teams they get in to this round of the Sweet 16 round. That's what I'm really going to judge. I think that counts a lot more. That means a lot more. Obviously, if they can go get 5 or 6 of those teams, that'd be really impressive. So I think that's the ultimate goal.
Dave, I've seen people saying, and I want your thoughts before we dive into these games individually. I've seen people saying they feel like this is one of the worst years of the first round in the NCAA tournament we've ever had. Do you agree with that? Disagree? Your thoughts? I guess we haven't had those like monster upsets that we've gotten in some years past. Do you feel like it's been an underwhelming start to the tournament?
I mean, no, but I mean, to answer the question, though, is it underwhelming or has there been no upset? Yeah, there really hasn't been. What's the biggest upset? McNeese State over Clemson, which a lot of people kind of picked that. There hadn't been one that was – there hadn't been anyone out of the blue. I mean, like Alabama, you had Alabama.
Tried.
Alabama and Robert Morris went back and forth today. I mean, I don't think anyone really thought Robert Morris was about to win the game, but – that came so, I mean, it was close in the last 8 minutes of the game. Trying to think any other ones out there. I mean, Michigan State and Bryant were back and forth in the first half. That's another 2-15, but I think last time I looked, Michigan State.
I mean, Drake beating Mizzou was an upset.
People had that. Yeah, you're right. There hasn't been
popular pick. Yeah.
Let's essentially say this. There hasn't been a 3-14, 2 over 15, 1 over 16 yet. And I think that's what people consider a true upset in today's time.
Just like an unexpected, didn't see it coming.
Like a shocker.
Yeah, a true bracket buster.
Oakland, Kentucky last year, 3-14.
Yeah, exactly. Dave, that being said, again, we got 7 games to discuss. Let's dive into these. Let's start with the game that kicked off the day. The Mississippi State Bulldogs, their season comes to an end against the 9-seed Baylor Bears. This was a line that bounced back and forth. Baylor opened as a 1-point favorite, 1.5-point favorite. The line swung to Mississippi State as a 1.5-point favorite. The Bulldogs end up falling by 3 points. You look at the numbers, Mississippi State shot 50% from the field, 33% from three-point range. Their leading scorers, of course, Josh Hubbard leading the way with 26 points. What a season he had for the Dogs. Harris Jr. with 13. You had Kugel with 11. You had Murphy with 10. You look at Baylor, Dave. They shot 44% from the field, 25% from three. Wright, the third, with 19 points. Edgecombe with 14. O'Meara with 12. Love with 15 as well for Baylor. Dave, your thoughts on the game? This game was electric. This game came down to the wire. Mississippi State had an opportunity to tie the game, chucked up a three. It did not go. Thoughts on this game? Thoughts on the season as well for Mississippi State? Because it was this team never felt the same after that close loss they had to Alabama, like midway through
in February.
But the kind of the earlier part of SEC play, they never really felt very, very inconsistent, up and down. I said it on social media. It kind of felt like a strange season in Starkville this year.
Yeah, no, I 100% agree with you. I would say you're right. That game at the hump where they lost at the end, Murphy missed the point blank range layup against Alabama, and it felt like State was kind of fighting for a top 4 spot in the league. And with that loss, Missouri came to town that next Saturday, 2 or 3 days later, and beat them by 20 plus. I mean, their biggest highlight after that was probably sweeping Ole Miss, which is cool. But again, Ole Miss is still playing; their season's going. Third year in the tournament. Again, I think Chris Jans, again, friend of the show, but we're honest here. That's why we're called SEC Unfiltered. But I think we've seen Mississippi State's ceiling. Their floor. We're at their floor. We've seen it. It's tournament bound. But have we also reached their ceiling too, CP? I think it's starting to be. It's a fair question to have. I really do. It's like third straight year making the tournament. No wins yet. At some point, I know it's Mississippi State, but again, Mississippi State fans back with the Rick Stansbury days expected some success. And I think people just start kind of taking tournament appearances for granted when you're not winning any games in them. And it gets old. So I think we're kind of to the point now with the Chris Jans program at Mississippi State is we're good, but can we take it to that next level and kind of maybe win a game in the tournament, go to the next weekend? I don't know. Next year's a big year 4 heading into we feel like he has set his floor in the first 3 years. But are we also at the ceiling too? I don't know.
Fairly
interesting last possession in this game. You let Claudio Harris shoot it. Josh Hubbard doesn't touch it. I get it. Coach Drew and Baylor are trying to take that away, but you try to at least get him a shot for the tie. But just a tough loss, back and forth. Like you said, one of the better games of the day from an SEC perspective. But yeah, that one's a tough pill to swallow compared to the other two you've lost in the first round in the last 2 years. Because it's Baylor's good, guys, but man, that's tough. That's a tough pill to swallow.
To your point, Dave, fairly or unfairly, I think most fan bases, they kind of write it off as like if you go to the tournament and don't win a game, it's almost like you didn't go. So you did, obviously.
It's like a first year.
Yeah, exactly. Like you did, obviously, but there's nothing to hang your hat on. We went, had a cup of coffee, and now we're out of there. So you do that 3 years in a row. To your point, they're obviously going to want more, which they should.
They have some young key pieces back next year. I think you have Nwoko. Don't hold me wrong. I think Murphy, Michael Nwoko, and Josh Hubbard are back. They just got to get some other guys. They took Riley Kugel this year, and I thought he was kind of a ceiling center for him. It just didn't pan out. He was fine today, but no, interesting year 4. If things aren't bad, he's not coaching for his job. I just think at some point people are going to be like, who do you compare them to in other sports, CP? It's kind of just like, it's State. They always kind of hit a wall in the season, struggle to score at times. Defense wasn't near as good as it's been the last 2 years, but not a bad season. But anytime you make the NCAA tournament, it's a good year. But I do feel like, as I say a lot, left a little meat on the bone, CP.
Yeah, they need to start winning some games in the tournament, no doubt. I think this is a program that can expect, hey, I don't think it's asking too much. Let's make a run of the Sweet 16 one year. That's not.
It's win a game.
That's not out of the question. So Mississippi State, Chris Jans wants to try to do it again next year, again falling to Baylor 75-72 in that first round game. Dave, let's go to, how about the Alabama Crimson Tide? They beat Robert Morris 90-81. I texted you during the game. Obviously, our group chat was going crazy. What the hell is wrong with Alabama? And you made a great point, man. And we were joking about Bobby Moe coming into it, but you're not in the tournament if you suck. You're just not. And I think Robert Morris showed that, if you're not ready to play and you don't come out of the gates with intensity, Anybody can beat anybody in a single elimination tournament. But the bottom line is this: survive and advance. Alabama does that. They win the game. Dave, they shoot 59% from the field, 29% from three. Who else? Mark Sears leading the way with 22 points in the game. Dubate with 18 points. Amori with 17 points for Alabama. You look at Robert Morris. They shoot 42% from the field, 26% from three. Dickerson had 25 points for them. Fulgaris had 15. And Omahafo with 12. Dave, I'll let you take it away. Your thoughts here. Again, Alabama gets the win, survive and advance. You and I have talked a lot. This tournament is about you're not going to play your best basketball every night. Can you win despite that? Can you literally survive and advance? But, man, it was hard not to look at Bama today and be like, what in the world is going on with the Crimson Tide?
Yeah, it was one of their worst games of the regular season. It looked a little bit like November Alabama, where they were kind of playing with their food a little bit. Looked a little disinterested today. Don't want to take anything away from what Robert Morrison have done. They did a phenomenal job. I love the flow. I totally forget the coach's name. It starts with a T. Coach Toole. That's his name, Coach Toole. Coach Toole. But no, they did a good job, man. When they had chances, they drew up some good sets. They called good timeouts when Bama would get up 10-12 to stop that run. I thought Alabama's rebounding was bad today. And that can't hold up if they want to advance past Sunday against the St. Mary's team, who has, I think, leads the country in offense.
They got out-rebounded 39-37?
Yeah, that can't happen on Sunday against a really good rebounding St. Mary's team. But no, Bama, I mean, Mark Sears didn't have a great first half, but became a little bit of March Sears in the second half. It kind of came on a little bit there. Bama had to make plays. They had to be resilient when they had to. It is a survive and advance. You move on to play a St. Mary's team that total contrasting styles. I mean, Alabama I think leads the country in offensive possessions, and I believe St. Mary's is like 352 with like 50-something possessions, like 58 or something like that. If I had to, it's something to that. And Alabama's in first. Alabama leads the country in possessions per game. So it's amazing that the contrasting of styles we will see on Sunday. But for Bama, brought in Grant Nelson probably a little bit, but he built a spark. And to be fair, CP, they were out rebounded, but Grant Nelson didn't come into the game until about 8 minutes left in the second half, and he's Bama's leading rebounder. So that obviously, I mean, your rebounding gets a little better when your leading rebounder comes back. So, I mean, that makes sense. Wouldn't take too much from it, but definitely that wasn't a bring your own juice, as your boy Dabo Sweeney would say.
Bring your own guts.
Bring your own guts. Yeah, very underwhelming from that perspective. But again, you won, and I think Robert Moore's a little better than people think, but still.
Oh, Bobby Moe. Don't sleep on
Bobby Moe, baby.
Yeah, Bobby Moe showed up and showed out. And yeah, I mean, I don't overreact to it either. Again, you won, you survive in advance. I think if you're Nate Oates, it's a great opportunity. It's a teaching moment, obviously. But I guess it made me look a little foolish. I thought Bama, you'd see a different version of them kind of locked in from the jump. And I don't know. It seemed like Bama was pretty comfortable just going in that thing, kind of cruise control, and it almost cost them. But it didn't. You get the win. Dave, like you mentioned, they will take on St. Mary's in the round of 32. I'm assuming you've already looked at the spread?
5.5, I think I saw.
Yes, Bama.
Pretending guess and cheat.
Yes,
Bama.
Bama.
I might have cheated.
Yeah, Bama is a 5.5 point favorite. The over-under is set at 147.5. Am I crazy for thinking that feels a little bit low?
Yeah. Yeah, I mean,
5.5 feels low.
I think most people probably would have guessed like 6 or 7.
Yeah,
interesting. But Tennessee's what?
Also 5.5. They're at 5.5 as well.
5.5. I saw this afternoon.
5.5. Yep.
4.5 or something like that against UCLA tomorrow.
Yep, 5.5 against UCLA. So, but Alabama, bottom line, they get the win. A game they were expected to win, closer margin than expected, but 90-81 the final either way. Dave, a margin that was a little bit greater than we expected. Kentucky gets the job done against Troy, 76-57, a 19-point win for the Cats. Really impressive against what I thought was a pretty solid Troy team coming in this game. Kentucky shoots 48% from the field, 39% from three. Otega Owe leads the way with 20 points. Carr with 13. Kobe Brea with 13 as well. For Kentucky, Garrison with 13 also. You didn't look at Troy, Dave. They shoot 35% from the field, 25% from three. Rigsby with 17. Connerway with 12. Your thoughts, what you saw for Kentucky. Mark Pope, by the way, gets his first ever NCAA tournament win at Kentucky.
First up for him. Congratulations, Coach Pope. I mean, you know it's not a good offensive night for you when you're only putting 57 on Kentucky. People have been living in the 80s on the Cats this year, if not the hundreds, depending on what your team name is. But 57 points against this Kentucky defense. Again, I thought Troy would be a little better. This game was back and forth. I mean, it was in single digits for a lot of the first half. I think Kentucky was up like
Game of runs, big time.
Yeah, it wasn't Kentucky's best overall performance, but again, it's a survive and advance. Give them credit. Again, you got Lamont Butler back. He didn't really score, but still, he was one of their more efficient guys on both sides of the ball, offensively and defensively. Otega Oweh doing his thing, 20 points. Kentucky just moves on, baby, moves on. Excited to see it. They'll face probably Illinois it's looking like in the next round. So that'll be fun in the 6th seed there. That'll be a good
really good matchup.
That'll be a good matchup. But no, Kentucky, I thought Troy's a tough team. Did they play well offensively today? No, because again, like I mentioned, if you're only putting 57 points up and you're only shooting 34% from the field and 25% from beyond the arc against this Kentucky team, that's not good offensive basketball. So give Kentucky credit defensively, clean some things up. I mean, how many turnovers did Kentucky end up with in this game? 10. I mean, you're wanting to keep it in single digits, but with their pace they play with, it's going to be a little higher. But no, I mean, Mark Pope's first dub, you can tell he's a little emotional about it afterwards. His players were congratulating him. So that's good for them, but they had to get back to the drawing board and face a good Coach Underwood-led Illinois Illini team.
Yeah, like you said, Dave, I think the thing encouraging the defense, holding Troy to 57, I did not see that happening. I took the over in the game, just another one of my bets that did not hit, of course. So maybe I sparked Kentucky to a big defensive night because I took the over. So there you go. Either way, good win, 19-point win. Congratulations, like you said, Coach Mark Pope. First of what I would dare say is many NCAA tournament wins at Kentucky. Dave, let's go to, we just talked about them because it is the team that Alabama will face. St. Mary's, they beat the Vanderbilt Commodores by a final score of 59-56. This is another thrilling game. Came down to the wire. Mark Byington and company coming up just short. Vanderbilt shoots 40% from the field, 31% from three. Edwards with 18 points. He was the only one for Vandy in double digits. Your second leading scorer, Nickel with 9, Mannon with 8, McLaughlin with 7. You then look at St. Mary's. They shot 40% from the field, 28% from three. Ross had 15. Marcelonis had 14, Saxon with 12, Barrett with 12. Dave, your thoughts on this game? Doesn't, kind of like I said about Mizzou yesterday, Dave, doesn't take away from a great year one for Mark Byington, what he did with this program, but certainly a disappointing end to their season.
Yeah, Mark Byington did a phenomenal job this year. I think, again, Dennis Gates would be up for the SEC Coach of the Year if it wasn't for Bruce Pearl. But, yeah, not a pretty offensive game overall for either team. I mean, 59-56 combined, these teams, 30% from beyond the arc for Vanderbilt, 28%. I think at one point in the game, when I was looking up the stats live in this game, St. Mary, the Gales were shooting 11% from beyond that. I think combined, these two teams were like 8 for 43 at one point late in the second half in this game. I mean, it was some really poor shooting. Can't imagine that. I mean, St. Mary's advanced to play Alabama, so I can't imagine them shooting that poorly again. But you're right. It's funny. I mean, Vanderbilt has some phenomenal wins this year. Kentucky, Tennessee, on the road at A&M. I mean,
they were a giant slayer at one point.
Yeah.
That Memorial Magic.
And it felt like they controlled a lot of this game. We're up 7.5. They were up majority of this game, and it's just down late. They just couldn't make some plays down the stretch. Actually, I'm willing to say I think Vanderbilt probably maybe has a little bit of a higher ceiling than St. Mary's, but St. Mary's probably has the higher floor, and that's why they ultimately ended up finishing it off in a very, very low-scoring 59-56 game. You don't see that often in today's college basketball. And then, I mean, St. Mary's just plays. Remember, folks, for you listening, St. Mary's plays with a totally different pace. They're like 352, I think, in offensive possessions for the season. So it's a totally different. You need to get out and run, and Vanderbilt was doing that earlier, and it just didn't work out for them. But a great year, man. First year Vanderbilt hadn't been in the tournament in years. Mark Byington gets it done in their first year. They were very well coached, and you saw guys get better. One key stat I want to say about Vanderbilt got out-rebounded by Jackson State in non-conference play, folks. And they flexed their muscle. I think they out-rebounded Tennessee in one of the two games off the top of my head, if I'm right. I mean, they improved significantly. That is a good sign of a good coaching staff is when the players are getting better throughout the year. So, phenomenal year for Vanderbilt. Just couldn't finish the job. I actually thought they played better overall. Probably should have won this game today.
Out-rebounded in this game, Dave, 41-28 by St. Mary.
Part of the reason why you allowed them to come back.
Yeah, definitely did not help. Also, just for the audience out there, I will share with you all to add insult to my injury when it comes to gambling. I had an 8-team parlay, moneyline parlay. 7 of the 8 hit. The one that did not, the Vanderbilt Commodores. I will not hold it against our friends from Lot 2. I will not hold it against Mark Byington, but just more salt in the wound for your guy over here. So, oh well, it is what it is. Happy March. Dave, let's move on to the Florida Gators. There was no dramatics here. They get a big 95-69 win. Expected, the 116 matchup. The way Florida's been playing of late, Dave, this is what you expected from the Florida Gators. They shoot 48% from the field, 31% from three. Walter Clayton leading the way with 23 points in this game. Martin with 17. Hall with 13, Condon with 12. You then look at Northfolk State, shot 46% from the field, 14% from three. Ings, their leading scorer, with 16 points. Darden with 15. Fields Jr. with 14. Dave, your thoughts? I mean, again, Florida wins this game handily wins it, advances. No surprise here, though.
CB, did you see on Twitter, on Barstool, posted it? That's Norfolk State's coach in his post-game press conference. He says, I told you we weren't a 30-point underdog. Norfolk State head coach Robert Jones covered a plus 28.5.
I know they did because I took Florida minus 28.5, Dave.
Yeah.
I know. Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Hey, good for him. Good Norfolk. Good teams win, great teams cover. Good job, coach.
Yeah. No, I mean, Florida's just a total, as the kids say these days, a wagon. I mean, just dominant right now. I think the most complete team. I think a lot of people are saying that. I mean, you go look at the percentage of national champions picked in the bracket challenge. It's Florida, like, for good reason. I mean, we've seen pretty much chalk through the first 2 days, or the first round of 64 here in the NCAA tournament. So, no, I mean, there's not much to say about this game, CP. I mean, 95, just dominant performance. What you want to see what you want to see out of the team that just came and won the SEC tournament and playing a dominant brand of basketball and the best team in the country right now. Will be interesting, though, CP, on Sunday. Yukon, the back-to-back defending champs, Dan Hurley. Man, that'll be a fun matchup there. Florida's the better team. And, again, I don't mean to take anything away from Todd Golden, but is there a little, like, when he walks out of that tunnel to go on the court on Sunday afternoon, Sunday night, we're still waiting for tip-off times or Sunday. If anyone listening sees it, put it in the group or let us know, see what time these are. I see a lot of people are still waiting. But wait, what if Todd Golden comes out of that tunnel and you just see Dan Hurley there? You know, I mean, he's the self-proclaimed, I'm the best mother effing coach in this sport. He truly believes it. And, yeah, he is. He should have, I mean, for what he's earned so far, what they've done. But is there a little bit of a psyche there, CP? Like, you think like Todd Golden, young 39 head coach, like a big favorite to win it. He looks across the floor and sees the back-to-back national champ, very big ego and loud and boisterous guy. Like, he doesn't hide it. Does that affect you a little bit? Not that it matters. It's just something to talk. I mean, it's a young coach.
I think it definitely plays into it. Yeah, he's a competitor. You can't help it, right? I mean, you know, I think you gotta. You got to control the emotions and realize that, I mean, it's not all about.
Do you think Todd Golden could be intimidated? Again, I don't think he will be. I'm just saying, do you bring that up? We hadn't had anybody go in this kind of run in college basketball in a while, and they haven't been as good as they have been.
Coaching edge matters. I think.
Yeah, I mean, they're sitting there in UConn sitting there in the 8-9 game, and you got this overwhelming 1 seed, which is wild. They were the last 1 seed. Florida rolling into this game. It's like you do have the better basketball team. Is that psyche of like UConn? I don't know. I don't think so. I think Florida's going to win. I'm interested to see what that line opens up at.
What if I told you, Dave, that line is
What
out?
if I told you?
What if I told you that line is out? Would you like to guess what it is? Florida, UConn.
Florida -8.
Florida -8.5.
Ooh.
Dave Shumate. Over under 151.5. By the way, Dave, I'm also here to tell you I have tip-off times for Sunday.
Man, you're at Santa Claus right
I
now.
know. I just keep bringing you gifts.
Stuffing those stockings.
Florida Yukon will kick off the day 12:10 p.m. Eastern.
That screamed prime time. They're
CBS.
playing in Raleigh. They're playing in Raleigh too.
Yep, CBS 12:10 p.m. Eastern. The other SEC games, Kentucky, Illinois at 5:15 p.m. Eastern on CBS. Alabama, St. Mary's at 6:10 p.m. Eastern. And then Ole Miss and Iowa State, 7:45 p.m. Eastern. So all throughout the day, we'll have SEC games yet again. On that note, Dave, let's talk about the Ole Miss Rebels. They advance. They move on. Chris Beard and company take down the North Carolina Tar Heels, a North Carolina team that many thought shouldn't have even been in this position. But either way, Chris Beard and company get a big-time win in this ball game. Once again, 71-64. Dave, Ole Miss shoots 44% from the field, 40% from three. Padula, what a game he had, man. 20 points for Padula in this one. Had the big dagger late that solidified the game or solidified the win. Davis with 15 points. Brakefield with 12. North Carolina shoots 38% from the field, 21% from three. R.J. Davis with 15 points. Lubin with 14. Dave, your thoughts on the game? I think not only are we happy, Ole Miss, I think a lot of folks out there are just happy that North Carolina got exposed. Many people believe they did not deserve to be in the tournament. They got in because of brand. Yes, they won the play-in game, but Chris Beard and the boys doing America a favor. Huge win for Hottie Toddy. Huge win for the Rebels. And they move on and will take on Iowa State.
Yeah, it was a big win for Ole Miss. And let's be honest, I think a lot of people admit this. Take away the brands. The Ole Miss is just a better basketball team than North Carolina. It's not really close. It didn't look close right off the bat. Ole Miss let them come back some late.
Yeah, this game was not as close as that final score.
No, it wasn't. Give North Carolina and Hubert Davis credit. They fought hard, came back. R.J. Davis and them made a rally, made a run. But, dude, Sean Padula and them were too much. I thought another guy, Dre Davis, came out. What was he? Got off in the 5-0 start for him. 15 points, 3 of 4 from beyond the arc. The Seton Hall transfer doing phenomenal things. He's been really good for Ole Miss at times. Malik Dia can be a versatile guy. I mean, Jermaine Brakefield, who's asked Chris Beard to come off the bench now, 12 points. Again, like I said, if Brakefield and Morrell can just combine, somehow get to 20 points, and they did today. 8 for Morrell, 12 for Brakefield. That's good news for Ole Miss, especially when you add what Sean Padula and obviously what Dre Davis were doing. Ole Miss was really good today. They were up 18 at half, controlling, put it on cruise control. Took their foot off the gas, let it slip off the gas a little bit. We were swerving. It looked towards the end of the game. They're outscored by 11, but it's 11 in the second half. But no, Ole Miss holds on and survive and advance. Phenomenal coaching matchup on Sunday for the Rebs in Iowa State. TJ Otzelberger, young coach, is revamped this Iowa State program going against Chris Beard. Chris Beard going up against an old Big 12 team. So, I mean, that'll be a fun matchup. That's one of the best coaching matchups, I think, heading into Sunday's matchups or Sunday's game. So I'm fired up about that one.
Dave, have you looked at the spread for that one yet?
No, I haven't seen that.
Right, what would you guess?
Playing in Milwaukee. I don't know what the temperature will be. Let's go.
Good news.
Iowa.
The game is indoors, Dave.
You're right. Let's go. Let's go Iowa State -4.
Iowa State -5.5.
I was about to say 5.
A little bit more. Over under 145.5. Cyclones are favored. That'll be a fun one, though. I think, to your point, that's going to be a really, really good game. And again, Ole Miss, man, I think you can't understate the job Chris Beard has done. Really, really good job. Such a short amount of time, too. He's done a heck of a job.
And again, for Iowa State, I mean, Keyshawn Gilbert's out. So, I mean, that'll be interesting. I have Ole Miss winning this game. I do. I have Ole Miss in the Sweet 16. That'll beat North Carolina, and I have them. I'm going to stick with it. I have them winning this game against Iowa State on Sunday. That's the last SEC game, right, CP, that night? Yeah, I'm looking at it. 7:45.
Yep, that is the last one. That's one of the primetime slots, if you will. So True TV out there in Milwaukee.
Kevin Harlan and the boys.
Yeah, Kevin Harlan calling the game. Yeah, going to be a fun one. Yeah, it's going to be awesome. Dave, finally, let's go to the final game of the night on Friday night. A game in which this was another one, Dave, similar to what Gonzaga, Georgia was, where nobody was giving the SEC team a chance in this one. And sure enough, it played out that way. Yukon gets the 67-59 win over the Oklahoma Sooners. Porter Moser and company, their season coming to an end. Oklahoma, Dave, shooting 32% from the field, 18% from three. Jeremiah Fears leading the way with 20 points, Moore with 13. Those are the only two Sooners in double digits. You look at Yukon, shot 43% from the field, 24% from three. Ball with 14, Caravan with 13, and Reed Jr. with 12. Dave, your thoughts on this game? Again, this is one you and I both had Yukon winning. Yukon gets it done, and Oklahoma's season comes to an end, and a frustrating season, I think, for Oklahoma. And I do wonder, Dave, you and I both talked months ago or really weeks ago about the future of both Texas and Oklahoma basketball. Would one be looking for a new head coach? Will both be looking for a new head coach? We essentially know Texas is going to. I wonder, does the chatter come back up about Oklahoma potentially going out and hiring somebody else, or are they comfortable because of the tournament appearance sticking with Porter Moser for the long haul?
See, I think big picture, you got to factor in. I hate doing it. We're talking about an NCAA tournament loss where they bounced. I mean, I wouldn't say they bounced back. I mean, they did some things late in the year. That big win at Texas, it got them in. You make the tournament. They just don't invest a lot in this program. Let's be honest. They're not trying to go make a change with him right now because they don't know what's coming down the chute with the $20 million revenue share that everybody's probably going to go with, or that's the max you can go with. You can go underneath that. Let's be honest. They may fire Brent Venables. They get to go buy his contract out and go pay a bunch of assistant coaches' salaries. Teams are going to athletics departments are about to start operating like businesses do. They've forever been operating in the red where it's not their money. Now people are cutting back. I know some SEC programs that didn't even get their bowl bonus. At football, the football team, folks, did not get their bowl bonus because they were cutting back. And they won their bowl game. So, no, I don't think they fire him, to answer your question, CP. Too much going on in the world of college athletics. It's not bleeding out right now. Kind of similar to like a Billy Napier situation, if we want to put an analogy or an example from a football perspective. I think Porter Moser is a pretty good basketball coach, but you got to invest in the program and give him some pretty good players. They developed, I thought tonight, Mo Wiggy stepped up for them when they needed someone, with Sam Godwin being out here recently. Again, it's tough to say they've been playing great lately. I mean, this was a team that only won 6 games in conference play, but they got into the NCAA tournament for what they did in non-conference play, going undefeated. One of 3 SEC teams heading into conference play undefeated. I'm not too disappointed. I mean, UConn's the better basketball team. They know how to win late. It's like we always say, CP, in the tournament, when kind of your younger cats or your better players, and it's a tight ball game late, veteran experience usually prevails. So good win for UConn. Florida, UConn next. We talked about that one a little bit. I'm fired up about it. You said I was surprised that game's a little early. I thought that was going to be a nightcapper.
Leading off the day at 12:10.
Interesting.
Yeah.
But no, I mean, I think good season for Oklahoma. I do not think they make a move because I don't think, first of all, they care enough about basketball. Second of all, the future of college athletics. And again, these athletics departments about to start operating like a business where they can't just spend money and we're not printing money or the money tree. So no, I don't think they do. And I don't think they should.
Again, UConn, to your point, Dave, I think something invaluable in this spot, even though they've had a less than stellar season, not the season they wanted, a lot of championship experience on this roster, and your head coach is still Dan Hurley. So as much as a loose cannon as he is at times, this is a team very comfortable with this moment. They expect to get to a national championship and make it 3 in a row. And they play like a team who's comfortable in this type of environment, being in the NCAA tournament. So, yeah, an interesting season. I think a solid season for Oklahoma. I do agree with everything you said, though. I think if you're not going to make the investment in the program, don't waste your time going and hiring a new coach because nothing's going to change. Nothing's going to change. I mean, your team is only going to be as good as the roster you build and invest in and the program you invest in. The coach is just the talking piece to a degree. You got to have the right one, but you see what I'm saying, and I agree with you 110%. So Guys, the SEC once again 4-3 on the second day of the NCAA tournament. Would love to hear you guys' thoughts, your reactions, your opinions, and your predictions to all of the round of 32 games that are upcoming. 8 total SEC teams will attempt to punch their ticket to the Sweet 16. Dave, it's going to be an electric next 2 days of college basketball. And again, we'll be right here reacting to it all, breaking it all down. We'll do the same thing end of night, tomorrow night, and Sunday night. Going to be a blast. Myself, Dave Shumate, looking forward to it. Look forward to seeing you all back right here. So once again, guys, as always, make sure you...
Before we get out of here, we got to get some SEC predictions tomorrow.
We do. We do.
Who you taking? All right, we got
you want
Arkansas St. John's. That line currently 7.5. Who you taking?
Give me the Johnnies. I'll go Rick Pitino.
Pitino versus Cal.
Yeah.
Dude, it would not shock me if Arkansas won this game, though.
No.
I'm not totally sold on St. John's a good basketball team, but I think people fall in love with them right now.
I can tell you're not sold on St. John's.
No, I'm not. Not as a national title contender. I'm really not. Like, I think Rick Pitino, as he should, gives them extra brownie points because I think he's arguably the greatest college basketball coach of all time, him and John Wooden. But I think they kind of get those that like little Saban tax type thing, the Pitino tax. People are like, oh, Rick Pitino, the Red Storm. I'm going with him. Like, it's kind of like that. Arkansas's got enough talent. I'm going to lean the Red Storm, though. I'm with ECP. 4:15 on CBS, CP. Michigan, Texas A&M. A&M favored by 2.5. Who you rolling with? It'll be a fun matchup here.
Yeah, this one's going to be a fist fight. I will go with give me Michigan.
Do you think they let those Navy SEALs that they're kind of like starting to let practice to get ready for that potential Tennessee-Houston match that they're going to have to officiate that game and to officiate in Indy in next week? Do you think they'll put them on tomorrow's just to get them a little warm up? Because this could be the same thing. Michigan A&M will be a physical matchup.
Yeah.
I mean, dude, this will be a really
141.5.
This will be a really fun game. Winner heads to the Sweet 16 in Atlanta to face. If Auburn can get the job done, you could have SEC on SEC in the Sweet 16. Start with this matchup tomorrow. Who'd you say you're going with, CP?
I'm going Michigan. I think I picked them in my bracket. I think I picked them in my bracket too.
I'm gonna go the Ags, baby. Hey, woo! Aggies will know that. I'm gonna go the Ags. I'm gonna go Buzz and the boys.
Man. I hope the Ags.
Trust them. They got a lot of experience.
Listen, with the way my picks have gone, A&M fans, you should be thrilled that I'm going Michigan.
Buzz are pretty good. I like, but yeah, I don't know. I like this matchup for A&M. I think they show up. I think they play well tomorrow. I like the Ags.
Yeah, it's a coin flip game, dude. It really, I truly feel like it's a coin flip game.
Then we got Creighton, Auburn, and Louisville, 6:10 p.m. Auburn currently favored by 8.5. I think that's 6:10 p.m. Yeah, that's Central. So
FanDuel's got it 9.5. By the way.
Oh, that's 7:10 p.m. Eastern. Sorry, yeah. FanDuel is 9.5. You're right.
Creighton, I'd probably go Creighton plus 9.5, but I'm gonna take Auburn to win the game.
Yeah, I think Auburn wins the game. I mean, I think Creighton has some guys that can call it Kalkbrenner's a big body. Teams have started to just manage Janai Broome, flashing some doubles at him, but really controlling him just one-on-one. And that's why you've seen him put up 25, 30 plus. And he's a walking double-double in general. I mean, we know he's up him and Cooper Flagg for the National Player of the Year. But Janai Broome, people are kind of letting him get his points. And it's, hey, Denver Jones, Todd Pettiford. I mean, Miles Kelly shoots well in Rupp Arena. But outside of that so far, they need a little bit more from Denver and Todd Pettiford. So it's one of those, we'll see if they can beat us. Let Janai go get his, but if nobody else really breaks out, we can win the game. So it'll be interesting to see if Creighton, Greg McDermott, the boys keep that same strategy up. I'm fired up about that one. Then I'm going to go Auburn too, though, CP, to win the game. Mm-hmm. Then finally, the last SEC game, the last game of the night, UCLA, Tennessee, 9:40 p.m. Eastern. CP, what do you got FanDuel at right now?
Tennessee, 5.5-point favorite on FanDuel.
This game scares me a little bit.
It terrifies me.
Terrifies me. I'm going to go Tennessee. I don't feel good about it. I don't trust Tennessee.
Mick Cronin
this is
and
the game that I like them in this game. I'm more worried about this game. And if there's any Kentucky fans listening, they're going to be, gosh, dang it, dude. That guy freaking hates us. I feel more confident about the Kentucky game in the round of the Sweet 16 if Kentucky can beat Illinois and we have Tennessee Kentucky for the third time. And I know Kentucky's beat Tennessee twice this year, folks. I'm aware of that. I'm more comfortable with Tennessee beating Kentucky a little bit more in this game. This game makes me nervous. I'm nervous a little bit. If I'm a Tennessee fan tomorrow, you got the Alabama-Tennessee rubber game at 2 p.m. Eastern tomorrow.
Mm.
Then you got this, kind of the butterflies in your stomach. Tomorrow could be a little bit of a stressful day. Maybe take some CBD gummies or something if you're a Baylor fan tomorrow. You got a rubber matchup game, first place in the SEC on the line in baseball. And you got the Vols tipping off. I think this game worries me, boys. Mick Cronin in the tournament can get teams going at UCLA. We saw it, 3 years ago? Went to a run of Final Four, lost to Gonzaga. I'm going to go Tennessee, though. CP, don't feel good about it,
though. This, like you said, this feels like this could be a Rick Barnes special.
Yeah, this has Tennessee's offensive ceiling, just losing them this
dude.
game. You don't get anything from Chaz Lanier. Zakai's taking bad shots. This screams that game. Igor Milichik couldn't shoot the ball into the ocean from a boat.
Even the total, Dave's at 131.5. They're expecting a lower scoring game.
Yeah.
You know what? I'll just get frisky with it and go UCLA. Rick Barnes special. They're going to be calling for Rick Barnes' job again when he loses in the round of 32.
Him and Zakai may just walk out with each other hand in hand.
I'll get frisky with it and go UCLA just for fun.
So you think the SEC losing twice so you got the SEC losing, you got St. John's, but again, you sounded not as confident. You picked St. John's.
I can see the Hogs winning that game.
And you're going UCLA, and so you got Auburn, and you have
I had Michigan.
You have the SEC losing 3 games.
Yeah, so far.
Well, tomorrow that's it.
You want to do the Sunday ones too?
Well, we can do that tomorrow.
We could do that tomorrow. Okay.
Saturday reaction.
Fair enough. Good point. Yes, I'd have the SEC 1-3.
Dang,
that would be ugly.
Hater, dude.
That would be ugly.
I mean, all jokes aside, Michigan beating Texas A&M, St. John's beating Arkansas, and you just talked about UCLA, Tennessee. None of that would shock me.
But again, if I'm picking 1-3, then the SEC is probably going 3.
I had 3-1.
Yeah, that's probably what's going to happen. So, no, it's going to be an electric day, like you said, Dave. We'll wait till tomorrow night. We'll lock in our picks for Sunday when we react to the games from tomorrow. But again, it is going to be an electric slate. By the way, Dave, we do have the line for Kentucky, Illinois. You want to guess that one?
Kentucky, Illinois, Sunday night. Let's go. Kentucky. Let's go Kentucky -2.
Kentucky -1.5. Over under set at 169.5.
That'll be a good game. That one would. That's a coin toss, dude.
Yeah, you know how you know it's a coin toss. Kentucky is -113 on the money line. Illinois is -106. So it really is pretty much even money across the board.
What'd you say? We said Florida, Yukon. What's the other? Ole Miss, Iowa State. We did.
Yeah,
we did. I know that we did.
Bama,
I know Bama. I think it's 5.5 now.
Yeah, and Ole Miss is a 5.5-point dog to Iowa State.
Yeah.
So yeah, going to be a fun weekend. Again, really excited. 8 teams, like we mentioned, with an opportunity to punch their ticket to the Sweet 16. Again, we'll be back here live tomorrow night reacting to all of it. We'll lock in our picks for Sunday as well. Going to be a lot of fun. Dave, appreciate you as always, my friend. Thank you for taking the time, guys. Thank you all so much for tuning in here late night with us as we react to all things SEC basketball as the first round of the NCAA tournament officially comes to an end. As always, make sure you like, subscribe, turn on notifications, check us out via podcast. Wherever you get your podcast, you can also find us across all social media platforms as well as our website, secunfiltered.com. Until tomorrow night, guys, he's Dave Shumate. I am Chris Phillips. Appreciate each and every single one of you tuning in. We'll talk to you all tomorrow night when we react to all 4 games as 4 teams look to punch their tickets to the Sweet 16. Y'all take care.